for your salvation and for the salvation of gratitude to God in the midst of the community of believers. Wherever he works, tells us where a priest comes from, where a priest is, and what is among us. Every priest is chosen from among us. Unless we give our children, that every priest comes from among us. Where there is a father, where there is a mother. The primary of marriage, holy matrimony. Let me digress. The Christian family from which come children, boys and girls. Then in the world, some as leaders in the various capacities, and some will become. We will not understand the meaning of priesthood, the gift of the priesthood given to us through Father Paul Ogola. Opening our eyes and opening our hearts to understand the importance of our salvation and the importance of the power of the cross, and why Jesus Christ sat witness of these words of Jesus Christ in his life. He may always do this. He may always do this in memory of Jesus. In his ministry, in his prayer life, they may be reminded and brought to their memory the important thing about a priest. Every time a priest makes his presence of God's love for you. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes that make you lose faith in God. Sometimes we make mistakes that make you not embrace and to ask you for forgiveness, especially those times when our priesthood was not an example to you, when our priesthood did not motivate you to move to God. We say, we are sorry, forgive us, and pray for us to be good examples of the priesthood of the church, leading people of baptism. The baptism of two children, indicating to us God, to encourage holiness in the community of faith, to move people towards glorifying God, to remind people to. This is his last year as a teenager. From next year, he will no longer be a teenager priest. He will become 20, isn't it? 20 onward, little girls. It is our prayer, this community, with the lives of these two girls. And this celebration may inspire among young men from this community and from this parish, some to become priests.
May I take this opportunity also to thank Israel.
I am Professor Fred Ogola. I am a governance expert. I am the leader of Operation Linda Ugatuzi. I want to talk to you about the president's misses and hits in his 98 days in office. And I'm going to focus only on his 100 days plan. In the 100 days plan, the president has reached 98 days. And of course, we can still wait for 2 days. But miracles are very rare in this way. Because out of the 10 things he was supposed to do in 100 days, Kenyans have not met what they wanted. For example, if you look, cost of living was supposed to lower the cost of unga to 70 shillings. Cost of fuel, 100 shillings. We were supposed to get fertilizer. All those promises he mentioned, but let me separate them into three. The first is, where has the president failed? The first thing he has failed among the 10 is that there was a policy on hawkers and zero rating of credit, whereby Hustler Fund was supposed to be credit for free. Of course, hawkers have been shortchanged. They were promised to have where they can sell their wares in towns. They are being pushed out of town. And of course, the Hustler Fund has been put credit on. And with the Hustler Fund having interest rates, zero rating credit has not worked. The second one is he was supposed to give us 50% women cabinet. That has not happened. If you look at the cabinet, they are not. They are around 22% women. And of course, he was supposed to automate revenue collection. We are still seeing people running with papers, corrupt in town here, and actually what's happening is that people are just collecting money and putting in their pockets. Before the president was in State House, and before the governor of Nairobi came in, revenue collection was being done in Nairobi through KRA. Governor Sakaja has chased all the KRA and is now collecting using his henchmen. Now you tell me where that money is going. So revenue collection was supposed to go up. It has not gone up because there is no automation. So those are the things he has gone the wrong direction from what he told us he was going to take. Now let's talk about the pending issue he has not done. One of them is operationalizing judiciary fund. He promised us that he's going to operation judiciary fund. Let's wait for 2 days if he can do it. But for now, I don't think he's going to do that. The second thing was allocating fund to county economic charters. Remember when the president campaigned, he went to different counties and signed economic charters, even for universities. So those ones he has not allocated a fund for. He is now just telling us that the economy is dilapidated, but he's taking so many trips. The president has done more than 100 trips in 100 days. The last one was going to the US. And what he has come back with is carrying more money for debt. The president also promised us that for sure he won't borrow money. As I speak now, Korea has given him 126 billion. IMF has approved 55.6 billion. And the borrowing continues, yet he said it's evil. Now, those are the things the president has done. Of course, lastly, he has not done what is called, he has appointed, the things he has done that has worked now so far, is that he has appointed the 6 judges, the ones who refused to sign, to appoint, he has appointed. And also, he has done what is called, he has given the deputy president to be in charge of performance contracting for all ministerial policies. But why I'm not buying that is because the president we have now is a president who acts like president. He acts like a CS because he talks what CS should be saying. He says the policies that should be said by the PS. He says policies will be said by all CEOs because Hustler Fund, there's a minister in charge. There's a PS in charge. But the president is doing everything that other people are doing. As an expert in decision making, as a president, you should be doing less decisions and allowing other people to work for you. Why do you hire all these ministers, PSS, CSS, and even you call them CAS, and then you hire all these heads of agencies, chairs of parastatals and CEOs, then you do their work. It is like buying some millions of dogs, and instead of the dogs barking, you're the one barking. We would like the president to allow his people to work, to use the right structure of government. So that's the segment on the misses and hits about the president. And we urge him, be honest. You said you are a hustler man, take care of the hustlers. So now we go to the Hustler Fund. The Hustler Fund is illegal as we stand now because the Hustler Fund does not have, the fund being used has not been appropriated by Parliament. So we want to know from control of budget, where is the money coming from? That's why I took the president to court. I also want to know who is the accounting officer? Who are the board members? Who is the secretariat? When you're being told you are saving money in a bank account, we want to know the name of the bank and your account number. Because there's no way you can save money in a bank and you have no account name, you have no account number, and you don't know the name of the bank and the branch. We are being told you are saving money in SSF. Tell me your NSSF number. Without NSSF number, how do you follow that money? So the president must come out clean on that as well. He's taking your PIN numbers. M-Pesa told us before the president came to office that nobody should ask you your PIN number. I want to know from Safaricom. I want to know from Telcom. I want to know from Airtel. Why have they allowed the president to take our PIN number? Is he above the law? Is he above the commercial contract between me as a customer and you as a company? The Hustler Fund has no office to visit. The Hustler Fund has so many illegalities that should stop. But let me tell you what, hustlers, take the money because you are suffering, but don't be obliged to pay until the president complies with the 20 questions I asked the High Court. And I know the judge who has been taken, Judge Sistande, has responded to me as the petitioner to serve the Attorney General, to serve control of budget. So all those respondents have been served by me. We are waiting for the mention of this case on 15th of February, and then the hearing begins on 15th of March. After that determination is when you need to pay. So take the money, don't be obliged to pay until the person who has given the money does what? Or also complies. So that is the last segment about the Hustler Fund. Now, Lake Economic Bloc. Let us talk about the issues that affect us with this president's administration in his 90 days in office. The president is focusing on missed priorities for this region. One, building houses in Homa Bay. Those people are hungry. They cannot even afford sugar. They cannot afford unga. They can't afford healthcare. They can't take kids to school. You are building a house so that who can stay? Let me tell you what. There is what you call supply side of the economy. What is the supply side of the economy? Supply side is building houses so that people can buy. But without income, they don't have demand side of the economy. So the president is misdirecting the Lake region, because the Lake region has never seen head of state since independence. If we are again misdirected for another 10 years, where will we be after these 10 years? We will have sunk more into problems. What we have seen the president is that Gachagua comes from Central. His economic policies about hustler is working there. Agriculture, he has put money on subsidizing fertilizer. That one is working in Central and is working in Rift Valley. Nyanza has never been seen, or Lake region has never been seen as the breadbasket of the country, which means the priorities of the president is to serve Mount Kenya, where the deputy comes from, and then Rift Valley, where he comes from. Where Raila comes from is being given missed priorities. His strategy is that in 2027, Luos are poorer than other regions, therefore we cannot compete even in the election, we cannot compete on anything. It is making the Lake region less competitive and enhancing the competitive advantage of the Central and Rift Valley. So what I'm trying to say in short, and also we have to look at this way. If you look at statistics, Lake region constitutes 14 million population. That is 30% of the entire population of Kenya. If we are misdirected for 10 years, it's painful. I also done mathematics and found out that out of the 14 million, 9.77 are poor. They live below the poverty line. What the president needs to do is to give what's called a stimulus package. Send money send things that can bring money in Lake region so that people can have income to be able to consume the goods we have. We have women selling fish in the Lake region. Who can buy their fish? Their fish is taken to Nairobi. It is cheaper to get and easier to get the fish from Kisumu in Nairobi than to get in the Lake region because we can't afford. You go to public schools and universities in the Lake region. We are finding people from Mount Kenya or other places able to afford education set up in Lake region, but we cannot afford because we are in Fuliza and we are in Hustler Fund. We cannot afford it. So we need to create an income for our people so that they can be able to even consume our own product and then can invest their health and education. So that segment we are done.